Welcome back to another Publisher VBA video. So in today's video, we are going to continue off of our first video where we were introducing the Publisher object model and just kind of getting comfortable working with some objects that we're going to be utilizing heavily. And one object that I want to spend a decent amount of time on is the page object. And so the page object is a very important object because naturally, if we want to get to anything important, we have to go to a page first. So it's going to be helpful to understand how to navigate in between pages, how to get information about a specific page, and just understanding what are some of the things we can do with a page that might be helpful from a VBA perspective. Now, we're not going to be able to cover every possible thing, but I do want to cover just some things that I found were interesting and some that were presented as examples on the Microsoft documentation page. So in our previous video, I did show you how to enable the developer tab. So I'm assuming you already have it enabled. If you haven't, you need to go to the first video then. Now from here, let's jump into our Visual Basic Editor and start writing some code. So first things first, go to our Visual Basic Editor. Then from here, let's insert a new module. I'm going to go to Insert and then Module. Going to give this module a name. We're going to call it Working with Pages. For me, I'm going to call it Video because I already have one, but you should just call it Working with Pages. And then from here, let's create a new subroutine. We'll call it Working with the Page object. Okay, then from here, let's declare our variables again, like in the previous video. The first one will represent our application. So we will do the pub app. We are going to have a document because that contains all of our pages. So we will declare a document object. We're going to work with the pages collection. So we will do pub pages. This represents all the pages in the document. And then we're going to work with a single page at some point. So we will need a page object, which represents a single page from that pages collection. Now, some of the things that we will do with our particular page is we will change the background color. So we're going to declare some new objects that we haven't seen yet. The first one is going to be called pub page background. And so this is an interesting one. This represents a page background object, or the actual background on a page. We will change the fill of that page background, so the actual color of it. And so we will then declare another one called pub page fill, not file fill. And this represents a fill format object. So this allows us to do things like change the color and even do complex, I would say complex artistic operations like adding gradient styles and stuff like that. So very important. We might declare a few more objects, but for right now, this is all we need. Then from here, let's grab the application. So we will set our pub app object equal to the application itself. I'm going to give myself some space so we can easily see everything as we write some more code. And then going to grab the active document. So I mentioned this in the previous video. With Excel, we have something called this workbook. That represents the workbook that we are writing the code in. With Publisher, we do not have a similar object, at least from what I've been able to tell. Now, what that means is we can't easily reference the document that contains the code we are writing. Now, there is a documents collection, so all the documents that are currently opened in the application. So there are ways to get the specific one we want. However, when it comes to referencing the document that houses our code, there doesn't seem to be an easy way to do that. So the next object I'm going to set is the document. That's going to go into our pub application. And then I'm going to grab the active document. So the active document. And then from here, I'm going to grab the pages collection. So all the pages in the document. So I'm going to set my pub pages equal to my pub doc, and there's a pages collection. This returns all the pages in my document. I want to grab that first page next, so grab the first page. And then from here, I'm going to set that pub page object equal to my pub pages. And then I'm going to do the item and then the first page. So the first page in my collection. Now from here, I do just want to print out some additional information about my page. So print out the width of the page. Let's say debug print. The width of the page is and then plus sign, convert to string, because the pub page dot width property returns of integer. And so we need to convert that to a string if we want to combine it to an existing string. I'm going to copy these two lines and just change a few parts of it so we can easily see everything. In this situation, I don't want the width anymore. I want the height. And then I'm going to change this to height. And then I'm going to change this one to height as well. Just like the previous line, this returns a integer. So I need to convert it to a string if I want to see it here. So I'm going to print this. You can see it looks like it's good. I think this is in units, if I remember correctly. There's different ways you can measure it. It's like inches, units, and then I think even pixels, if I remember correctly. Okay, so one other property that we can call is called isTrailing. So isTrailing will return true if the specified page object is a trailing page of a two-page spread. So in other words, is it the last one? You need to have at least two, because otherwise the only page is both trailing and leading at the same time. So if you have multiple pages, isTrailing will say, is this the last page basically in our document? So grab the isTrailing property and print it out. So we're going to say debug print isTrailing, and then we'll put this here. And then for this one, it's going to be convert string as well, because pub page is trailing. Oh, sorry, not is leading, is trailing returns a Boolean. And so we need to make sure we convert that to a string as well, or else we can't combine it with another string. Now, just like there is a isTrailing, there is a isLeading property as well. So in this case, I want isLeading. And then here I will do leading as well. Let's see what this gives us. So isTrailing is true, and then isLeading is false. So it looks like with this one, our first page is trailing. I'm going to move this over here. And then isLeading is false. So, and then I think this is with page 1. It's kind of interesting. I would have thought this is, I would imagine that this is true. Because I know, well, actually, no, maybe give me a second. Yeah, see, that's, oh, okay. Well, I guess the first page is trailing, but the first one is not leading. Okay. It is what it is. I would have thought it was the other way around, but okay. But there you go. If you need it, I would say, here you go. So if you need to know if it's trailing or leading, I guess take that one with a grain of salt, because I would have thought it would have returned a different answer, but okay. So the next one is debug print is wizard page. So this one is an interesting one, because you can create pages which are called wizard pages. These, from what I've been able to kind of understand, is kind of like templates, if that's the way you want to think about it. And if this page was used or was created using that kind of template structure, then it's considered a wizard page. So you can grab that information and actually access it from VBA. So this could be, I guess, important if you want to know if you're working with a kind of more custom page versus a, what is the word? If it's more of a kind of like a custom page versus like a template page. So let me see what they have for the specific definition. So true if the specified page is a Microsoft Publisher wizard page. And wizard pages are special page types for certain types of publisher wizards, such as newsletters, catalogs, and web wizards that can be inserted into a publication. So again, it kind of sounds like it's a part of a document, but it's like almost like this like special template. So I guess there's like a catalog page. Maybe you could do stuff like that. I don't know. I'd have to explore that one a little bit more and see, what are some of the things that we can do with it. And so we'll explore that in a little bit more detail as we go there. But for right now, it's just a property we can access. So if it's something maybe of importance, we will see down the road. So grab the is wizard page property. Alrighty. So let's go and start formatting the background of our page. So how do we do this? Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to grab the page background object. So grab the page background object. And so we're going to set our pub page background object equal to our page, not our pug. I like pugs. There's a background property. This returns the background object. With it, we can check a couple things about it. So this is something you'll see in the example on Microsoft. The first thing they do is they see, hey, does it even exist? Does it even exist? Actually, hold on a second. I want to see something really quick. Huzzah! Okay, I think, no, it's still doing the same thing. Oh, my bad. I thought I was selecting the wrong one, and that's why this one was trailing or not. Sorry, side tangent. But the way they do it on the Microsoft documentation is they first check if there's even a background object on the page. And if there isn't, then they create a background object. So right now, this technically could be like it doesn't exist, but we can still access it. So first, check if the background exists, and if not, create it. Okay, so if, and then it's going to be pub page background dot exist equals false, then and if, I'm going to move my notes, and then it's going to be pub page background dot create. So that will create the new background for you. And then you can see here, you can delete a background as well. And then you'll also notice, hey, there's a fill object in there as well. So once you have that page background, you can grab the fill object. And so with that fill format object, we can grab it and then start modifying it. So we'll say pub page fill equals pub page background dot fill. Okay. And then we'll say, let's modify the fill format object. Just to be a little bit consistent, I will put fill format object up here. And we will say with pub page fill and with, and then we're going to start changing some colors. So we'll change the back color. And then this one is back color RGB. You can see there's a ton of different colors that we can start formatting. And then it's going to equal an RGB color. And it's going to be red is going to be 0. Green is going to equal 155. And then blue is going to equal 99. This, from what I can tell, is like a green. It's like a green color. And then we can change the for color as well. So we'll change the for color. And then with this one, it's pretty similar. It's just the for color vice the back color. This one, I'm going to do 155 to 34 to 34 and then 0. Now we can also create a 2-color gradient. So we can create a 2-color gradient. And so we will then take our 2-color gradient method. and we will do a style equal to diagonal down, and then a variant as 4. I think this is like, I want to say it's like different stuff you can do with it. Let's put it like this first. So we'll first, what is it? Did I not declare it? So I don't know what happened. It didn't like when I tried creating the background, and I really don't have a good explanation what changed. Literally the only thing I've seen that has changed was I did the lowercase r, and maybe that had something to do with it. I'm thinking, I don't know. So it's kind of odd, not gonna lie. So for whatever reason, it seems to work now. I don't know if it was like a bug and I'm just missing something, but I was able to get it to work. But basically this little section, all it's supposed to be doing is changing the background color and then also doing a 2-color gradient. So it has a 4 color that we specify with an RGB object, and then we also have a back color as well. And then we do a 2-color gradient style. Okay, so moving on, let's talk a little bit more about some things we can do with our pages. So we can add pages to our document. We've seen this in the previous video. We take our document object, go into the pages collection, and then we do count, or sorry, pages add, and then count equals 2, after equals 1. And then from here, we can delete the second page if we wanted to. So we can also delete pages. So this would again be pub doc dot pages delete, or sorry, no, we have to specify the specific page, and then we can delete that specific page as well. So this would delete the second page for us. And then we can count the number of pages in our document. So we can say debug print the number of pages in our document is, and then convert string pub pages dot count. We can also grab a page ID, so print the page ID. So we will say debug print the page ID is, and then here convert, well actually no, I'll put convert string because I can't remember if that one returns an int or not. And then we'll say page ID. We can print the page index. So the debug print dot the page index is, and then convert string pub page index. So let's look at the documentation on this one. I want to see, so page ID indicating the unique identifier for a page in a publication. So these are basically just random numbers assigned to a page when they're added, but this differs compared to the page index. So it gets the index of the page in the pages collection, and then you have page number. So return to string that represents the current page number. I would say that is basically what you see when you're looking here. So you have index, number, and then ID. So ID is randomly generated. Index says within the collection, what is the index? And then the number is specifically the page number that you see within the document. So there's actually another one as well. And we also see that our page can have a name. So we can print the page name. And so here I'm going to say debug print the page name is, and then here convert string, and then pub page, and then I want the name. Additionally, we can add tags to our page. So we can say pub page. There's a tags collection, and then there's an add. So tags are just basically behind the scene metadata where you can add a little bit more customizability to where you can add tags and then use those tags to help define certain process or logic in your code. So say, for example, I want to create a new tag with the key creator and then assign a value equal to Alex. So for example, I could have each page have their own creator. And then when I want to go through and maybe automate something, I can say, hey, anytime you see the creator tag equal Alex, I want you to do something special for that one compared to ones that were created by, say, like Rebecca or something like that, right? So that's kind of the idea behind it. Additionally, you can also save the page as a picture. So this is kind of nice too. So you can take your page and you can do save as picture and you can give it a file name. I'm going to leave this just temporarily blank. And then also you can specify the resolution as well. So this is the PB resolution. You can do commercial print, default, desktop print, or resolution web. I'm going to do commercial print, and then with that one, that would be good as well. And then from here, I actually already have the file name all ready to go. So I'm going to actually just copy that one really quickly. And I'm going to do the same thing with the next little topic that we're about to talk about. And that will do it for this video. Okay, and then we can also export the page as HTML. So this is also a nice little feature as well. So you can export, duplicate. You can export email HTML. This one you need to give a file name and you're pretty much good to go. So this one is just going to be the file name. Again, I already have that ready to go. So I'm going to take that just to make my life a little bit easier. And then it will export it. So I will put this all here. Oh, let me get rid of that for you. You can see it's just literally a file path. On this one, I did specify it as a JPEG photo. And then this one, I did specify it as an HTML file as well. I think with this one, you got to be a little bit careful sometimes because I know with pictures, yeah, see here you got to be a little bit careful. So it can only be a JPEG or a GIF file. So keep that in mind. With HTML, it's a little bit weird. You don't actually need to, it doesn't give you anything that says you have to have the HTML extension in it. I would imagine it would fail, but we can try. But regardless, we have a lot of our information. So let's print it out and see what we get from it. Woo! So we got our dimensions. Is trailing, is false, all that kind of fun stuff. Is wizard page, so it's false. And the number of pages in our document is 5. Here is our page ID. This was randomly generated. In our collection, this is the first page. And then in the page name is square page. So keep in mind, just kind of to highlight this again, the page index. So you can delete and add pages all the time, right? So as you delete and add, your collection grows and shrinks. Now the collection is still going to say, oh, okay, well, you've added a page. So even though it's got page number 1, that was, say, like the 5th page that was added into it. So you just have to be a little bit careful when you're comparing what you're visually seeing versus what's actually happening behind the scenes in the collection, because you can get different results. Additionally, I do want to see if we had success in our export. Let's take a look. Look at this. We have a beautiful piece of art that you can now share with all of your friends. You can also do the same with your web page. So if you inspect it, you can see it is a valid web page. Very nice. Very, very nice. What's this? When do they start doing that? And then also you can see it exports all the images as well. So you even get an XML file as well. So you get a lot when you export it as the HTML. But with that being said, I think I've taken enough of everybody's time. So that's working with pages using Publisher VBA. Now we've already seen that we've already encountered our first little bug with this specific one. I still don't know why it was giving me trouble. I literally had to spend 5 minutes and maybe I misspelled something or whatever it was, and maybe I'm just missing it. If you guys notice what I did wrong, please put it in the comments so I can figure that out, because it's going to drive me crazy. But we've already seen that this looks like can cause an issue. And then this one was a little bit interesting as well. I thought the first page would be considered the leading page, but it sounds like it's not. So I'm probably interpreting the definition differently. So I don't know why that's very different, but it is what it is. But we can see that we can do a lot with pages. So we can change the format, we can add and delete pages, we can add tags to them and stuff like that. So very helpful and very useful. It's just really kind of saying, okay, now that we have this understanding of a page object, how do we take that understanding and apply it to maybe some more complex operations? So this is really what I would say is the foundational stuff. We have to know how to take a page and start doing things with it, because naturally, when we want to start doing the more complex stuff, it's going to have a requirement of understanding some of the more basic operations. So thank you again for watching, everybody. In our next video, I think we're going to start with shapes probably, or maybe a specific object, and then we will go from there, maybe even documents. So keep an eye out for the next video.